Hey, Steve Williams here with the Real Debt Solution. I wanted to give you this quick warning. This is unbelievable, and this is something that's going to start happening even more and more. We started seeing it in certain areas, but now it's really going to explode. And what I'm talking about is, if you're a renter, you need to be aware that your landlord could be in the foreclosure process, and one day you and your wife or your family is at home and you get a knock at the door, and it's the sheriff kicking you and all of your stuff and your family out onto the sidewalk because the bank has finally finished the foreclosure process. Now, what I've learned from an insider today, I was at one of my banks that I bank at, and I was talking to, I don't want to give up if it was a he or she. I was talking to someone that is in the know about foreclosures and what the banks have been doing. And I've been warning people about this on my blog. And if you're renting, you need to investigate your landlord. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. But my insiders told me that over 1 million, just from one bank, that over 1 million properties are about to be foreclosed on over the next 3 months, and that they've been holding these properties. That means that a majority of them are could be owned by landlords, and you could be renting from them, and they're taking your money. They're not even applying that money to the mortgage. They're just taking the money as cash until the property is taken away from them in the foreclosure process. Now, let me tell you how you can investigate to find out if your property, if you're a renter, if the property that you have, it might possibly be in foreclosure. The first step that you can do is you can go to your city's website. In my area, it's kenosha.org, and you can type in the address of the property that you're living in, and you could see if the property taxes are up to date, because the first red flag. If you're living in a property and you're renting it from that landlord and the property taxes are not up to date, that's red flag number one. The next thing that you could do when you look at that on the website is the property in the landlord's name, or has it been transferred into a bank's name or a servicer's name, which is who collects the money for a bank? Has it been transferred? That's another red flag, because during the foreclosure process, they could have been foreclosed on, and then it takes 4, 5, 6 months, even a year, because it's backed up so far that all of a sudden, that landlord's gone, and he's been taking your money, or he or she has been taking your money, and all of a sudden you get kicked out. It's not like it was when there was a minimal amount of foreclosures in an area. It could take up to 6 months to a year for all the paperwork to be caught up, for the paperwork to be given to the sheriff to come and put the notice on the door. Another way that you could do, if you don't have internet access, or if you're not internet access, because you couldn't be watching this video without internet access. But if your city does not have a website like our city, then you need to go to your county courthouse and you need to ask the county clerk that you want to know if the taxes are up to date on the property that you're in, and and if it's possibly in the foreclosure process. And another thing that you could do is you could check your local newspaper for the listings of all the properties that are in the foreclosure process. And you might be saying, well, that's work, and I don't want to go through all of that. That's taking time out of my busy schedule. Well, how are you going to feel if they come and knock on the door and tell you got to get all your stuff out? And when the sheriff comes to knock on the door and put that notice on the door, you have a few hours to get all of your stuff out of there, because you want to know who's going to be coming next. It's going to be a company that the mortgage company hired to clean out the property is going to be coming next to dump all of your stuff out of there. So don't put your family in jeopardy. Do the research, at least so you can get comfortable and know, regardless of what the landlord tells you, they could lie to you. People lie to people all the time. Don't take their word for it. Go down there, do the research, and find out. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is these bank card fees that are hitting. The Bank of America just said that they're going to charge $5 a month because of what happened with the new credit card act, where they can't charge merchants, which are people like me that own businesses that allow people to pay their bills or the ads that they take or whatever, their purchases with their credit card or their debit card as a credit card. Well, the new credit card act that the president signed into law about 6 months ago made it to where, as of today actually, that those banks cannot charge the type of fees that they were charging. Basically, they were charging 40 to 44 to 45 cents per transaction. Now they can charge only a maximum of 24 cents. So guess who's going to pay the difference? All of us is going to pay the difference. Now, let me tell you why this is very important for you to pay attention to. Because if you notice on your statements now, when you use your debit card as a credit card, in some places, especially when you purchase fuel, gas at the pump, it'll show up as a $1 transaction, and then it'll take 2 to 3 days to mature. When they were able to charge that 44 cents, you would notice that all of that stuff had went away, because they didn't try to trick you into getting your account off balance to make money off of you. They were making money off of people like me, the business owners. Now they've changed it back to trying to trick you into making mistakes with your money. So be very careful. If you pay with gas at the pump with your debit card as a credit card, it's going to show up as $1. Be very careful to make sure you balance your checkbook and keep those receipts so you can know where you're at, because this is a way that they're going to be able to charge those higher fees for you going over your balance amount, going over what you have in your account. And then you know how that can pyramid into all types of money. Remember, back then they had started where if you are negative and then you're negative for 4 hours with some banks, and then some banks say if you're negative for a day, they charge another fee, and then if you're negative another 48 hours, then they charge another fee. So you can end up paying $100 for being over by just by $1. Now, think about this, just to show you the catch-22 that they're trying to put people in. What if your account is at zero, and then the month is about to start, and you know you get a direct deposit in your account on the 1st, but did you know that they could choose to charge that $5 per month fee and on your account, just to put you into the negative, because they know that you're going to be getting the money the next day, and then they're going to take that money and you're not going to have as much money in your account as you expected. I can't tell you who told me this, but I know of a person that worked in the processing department for banks, and this individual told me that they were instructed to do two things. When, let's say that you had several checks come in, and you had one big check, and that big check could be covered, or they could put in all of these smaller checks and then only bounce one check. They were instructed to put that one check in, and then always make it to where the bank made money on fees, so they would have two checks bounce instead of one check bounce. And trust me, this is their plan to make money. And so now they're going to play that same trick, using it for their monthly fees. They're not, they can choose any time in the month to take out that monthly fee. If your account is at zero, they can say, okay, we want to do the monthly fee right now. And you're going to be stuck in that catch-22. So really the only thing that you could do is you need to make sure that you have enough money in your account. Don't play any games where you put yourself in a situation where you're using all of your money and then you're depending on having a check that's given to you by a friend or from your direct deposit. Anything can happen. So always have some cushion in your checking account for any mistakes that you make, and for also for any early withdrawals that your bank may take of your money by any fees or anything that you might have coming out. Always refer to my website, therealdebtsolution.com. I have some tips on budgeting. I have some free videos to show you how to get out of debt. Take charge of your finances before someone else takes charge of it for you.